Friends, how are you doing? What a day, September 16th. We've got a lot to talk about here. What is going on? So tomorrow is the day. It is finally, tomorrow's the day here. We're going to find out what these feds are going to do. Is Jerome Powell going to give us one bitty rate cut, or is he going to give us multiple bitty rate cuts, or are we going to get one big 0.5 rate cut here? What's about to happen? So friends, I want to talk about Big Bear. I want to talk about Open. Oh my God, Big Bear! Who would have thunk it? I made a video last night about Big Bear where I was like, this is taking a wild turn with what's happening here. We're going to talk about that today. Big Bear getting back into a $6 range. Holy freaking smokes! What is going on here? And then obviously Open today. So let's break this down. I want to talk about Open real fast just because a lot of drama going on there. I woke up to a very aggressive comment section. We'll talk about that. And then kind of what happened today and what I possibly think may take place tomorrow. Different scenarios of what could happen here. So friends, I'm glad you're here. I'm on my second cup of coffee this afternoon. Let's get into it, friends. So with my super duper technical sheet here, obviously, 0.25, that's the guarantee more than likely for tomorrow, that we're at least getting one of those. Now, many think we could get multiples. We could get 3.25s here the rest of the year. Okay, like one here in September, maybe one in October, December, November, wherever they follow in the months here for the rest of the year. Now, this news will be breaking at 2 o'clock, and obviously everyone will be looking at Jerome Powell, obviously Trump. He will be, focused on what's going to happen here. Now, the big one, obviously, is going to be, can we get a 0.5, or can we get a I don't know. How aggressive are we going to get here? I highly doubt we're going to get two big ones here. I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows? We could be shocked here. Now with this, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think that the market has already priced in so high, so aggressively at this point. If Jerome Powell comes out tomorrow, the feds come out and say, hey, we're going to do one rate cut for this year. It's going to be a 0.25, just that little bitty one. I would highly expect at that point, people are going to go, oh, I don't like that. And we're going to see a red bloodbath of a market tomorrow by 2:15 in the market. People will be taking profit, and everything will fall apart. Almost everything. Everything that was connected to rate cuts, everything will fall back. People will take profit, what they can get out of things, and they will run. They will run for the hills. Now, that's scenario number one, more than likely. Okay. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. It's hard to say. Jerome Powell has been very, very delicate on these rate cuts. This is we haven't had rate cuts here. Now, two, if he comes out and says we're going to do 0.5, 50 base cut here, maybe start with that and maybe another little one, but anywhere that's more than this 0.25, at least one of them is going to be big. It's going to be good. This is going to keep positions that we have. This is going to push into higher expectation into the market for the rest of the year. And two, don't forget, less than 50 days at this point, we're going to start having all of our tech companies, big companies, Fortune 500 companies start producing, quarterlies again. So this is just about to all start up again here. So more than likely, the market's either going to go crazy at 2 o'clock tomorrow, or it's going to be just an all out, storm the beach, completely bloodbath. And I don't know what we're in for here. I really don't. It's hard to say. We know we're getting one. So let's go right into Open here. Now, this is where I've really been meeting a lot of negativity with people here. And I just want to be honest with you. I mean, I've been saying this, but so I've been very transparent. Like I bought in a position with Open like 2 weeks ago something, and I sold last week. It was last week. I sold when it went to this crazy high, and I told people that. And I said, hey, I'm not going to buy back in at 10, 9, even 8 if I can control that. I'm just not going to do it because I think I think we will bleed down to 7. Now, obviously, we haven't made to 7, and it today it held pretty good. And I do want to say this. I think with Big Bear
and Open here, I think this was a fantastic day for both of them. For Big Bear running up, and for Opendoor here falling to where people can maybe build new positions. Now going right back into Opendoor here, will we see 7 tomorrow? I don't know. I do have this feeling that the whole market will be a little bit of a, people will be taking profit up until the Fed meeting tomorrow. So I could easily see a scenario with Opendoor tomorrow where it kind of bleeds down more into this low $8 range, maybe high $7 range, until we figure out what the Feds are going to do, how massive a rate cut we will have here. Now, obviously, with talking about another push, a squeeze in Opendoor here, this is going to rely on what is this rate cut going to look like? What is it going to look like? A 25 basis point rate cut in the eyes of the housing market is not that big of a deal. It's a start, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, we're not cutting off a lot here. I mean, this is, if you want to split hairs here, I mean, I think everyone knows it's not that big of a deal. It's the right direction, but still, if that's it for the rest of the year, that's going to be kind of a bummer too, So, saying that, it doesn't mean like this is I'm not trying to be bearish on Opendoor here, and that's what I meant when I said, I woke up to a lot of negative comments where people are like, well, you don't understand what's going on here. You're misinformed. You're putting out bad information. Listen, I talked about this multiple times, even yesterday, where the new CEO, chairman, everybody that's come in here, who they work for, the deals that they've worked out with the company, with the stock share, everything. I think that's all positive. I think that will reinforce what Opendoor is going to do here the next 3 to 6 months. Absolutely. But 2, this is a messy situation because it's a highly manipulated situation. That's okay. It's like when I say this is a meme stock. There's nothing wrong with saying that. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with meme stocks. I am such on this side of the market where I go I'll put money in meme stocks. Meme stocks have done very well for me in the past. If you know how to get in and out of them and how to treat them. Listen, the best thing I can relate to anyone with a meme stock was someone who's like, well, what's a meme stock? It's a very, uncontrolled, a very controlled environment, but a very, unstable environment, obviously. But you cannot have a relationship with a meme stock. You just can't. It's too all over the place. I mean, it's like, you're literally just taking this thing out to dinner and then taking it back home. That is it. There's no relationship here. So that's how I'm looking at Opendoor. I'm not attached to this yet, because this is a short burst. This is a moment in time. I'm trying to make money off this right now. I'm not looking at this like, well, I really think in the next year, Opendoor is really going to push into what's going on with the housing market. Yeah, I long term, I am very in this world that, automated system companies, Carvana, Opendoor, food, everything this is where things are just headed. That's just the organic pathway of where things are headed. Okay, great. I think Opendoor, if there was ever a company, and essentially this is the company, to follow into a pathway of something like this working, this is it. This is the moment right here with what rate cuts could and will be happening here and where we're going into the future with technology, the housing market. Opendoor is it. This is it. But 2, we have a company right now that is openly been said at this point, it's a mess. They're going to start cutting people. They're going to really start going through the stock. I am fully expecting to hear word of they are going to take money out of the stock fully. The higher this goes, I fully expect that you're going to see massive pullbacks too. So that's really what I'm saying here. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm saying that I don't think Opendoor is not going to run to $10 to $15. I think that's very possible. I think this can be a $12 to $15 stock by tomorrow night if we get massive rate cuts. But I don't know what these feds are about to say. If they come out and say, "Hey, we're going aggressive here. We're doing big rate cuts," and we're wanting to really get things going here, and getting credit card rates down, get this housing market under control. And two, obviously, for the person in here, economic person, who's like, it takes more than rate cuts to make the housing market work. Absolutely, absolutely, I get that. But this is where a lot of the market is looking right now. So with that, friends, I am very bullish that Opendoor will have another short-term squeeze here. Now, I think it totally depends this first stage here with what rate cuts are going to bring, okay? Now, too, with that, after these rate cuts, let's just say that tomorrow the Fed say, "Hey, we're doing a 25-point base rate cut." That's it. Okay. May not see much movement tomorrow. Now, on the other side of this, I could definitely see where Opendoor here will kind of linger and maybe anchor in around this $7 to $10 position, trading violently throughout the next week around there, okay? And two, with that, I highly expect that the new leadership here will be coming out with a lot of statements, mission statements, what they're doing, how they're directing the company, because they know they've got to get things together. And two, like I said, the thing that brings a lot of comfort to a lot of our heads right now is that the new CEO, him getting millions and millions of dollars depends on this stock price going up and staying there for a certain amount of time. So I think a lot of us are looking at this right now like, yeah, this should work because they're going to try to push the stock. And two, it's very rare too. I'll say this, you're already seeing it. You may not even realize it, but you're already seeing it. That the fact that the new people in Opendoor are already so open and talking, they know the more they talk about Opendoor, they know the more they push out news on what's going on and confidence with investors, they know the stock's going to move up. 100%. I mean, that's the organic nature of the stock market and CEOs talking, chairman, whatever it be. So I think there is a lot of money to be made here in Opendoor, but I do want to tell you, if you're gonna play this of swing trading, you're probably gonna do better. If you're gonna have patience and buy and hold this at right times, you're gonna make a lot of money. I think people have already made a lot of money. So with that, today, the stock, ended here, after hours, we're looking at $8.97. So essentially, over $1 was lost today. It just kind of bled off all day. And that's totally, that's totally kind of normal. I mean, I think this is probably going to continue into tomorrow until the feds figure out what they're going to do. I think it's pretty safe to say right now, if you had a room of 100 investors and they all had $10,000 and you said, "Hey, how many of you, before we tell you what the feds are going to do, how many of you at this point would take that $10,000 and put it in Opendoor?" How many of you would do that? I think you would be shocked of how many wouldn't. If they had a second choice, if they had something else they could put that money in where it was kind of guaranteed that they would at least get a little bit of pushback. And we're talking about short term. I'm talking about like the rest of the week, because the situation right now is that Opendoor, like I said, if we don't get that aggressive of a rate cut tomorrow, this may lose a little bit of steam. Going into the rest of the month, I do think steam can be picked back up, because I think the new leadership is going to be talking. I think we're going to hear more about what's going on with Opendoor. I think that we're going to hear more about the housing market, what's going on. I think you're going to start to see articles about Opendoor more, about what they're doing, because they know they have to get this stock rolling. I imagine, if I went into a company and I was told if I can get the stock above a certain price, I'm going to get millions and millions and millions of dollars guaranteed. I would be up people's keister saying like, "Okay, what are you doing? What's going on? We got to get stuff going. We've got to put positive news out there. What's Opendoor doing? Where are we going with this company?" So I would imagine we're going to start to see a lot of articles come out, a lot of news feeds be pushed out. Listen, I I'm excited. I'm excited about Opendoor. I'm excited about what can happen here. I really am. But I do want to tell you, it's going to be a very back and forth relationship with you. This is a very manipulated, high volume on certain days, obviously. And it's going to be a situation where it's going to be tricky, but I think there's still a lot of money to be made on this. And like I said, if we get aggressive rate cuts tomorrow, this could be a $10 to $15 stock by tomorrow night if we get really aggressive rate cuts. But this really depends on what the Feds are going to do. I just don't know how aggressive they're going to go. And knowing Jerome Powell and his past of how he's been, that's where I go like, Jerome has been very, very cheap in the past, I guess we'll say. So friends, I hope you heard my heart in there with Open. Listen, I'm very excited about Open. But I want to bring a double-edged sword to the conversation. I don't want to be one of these people on here be like, put everything you have in Open, because if I had said that last night, this conversation I had last night, because if I had told you in last night's video, hey, as soon as the market opens tomorrow, put everything you have in Open stock, you guys would have lost thousands of dollars, hundreds. I mean, people would have lost money. That's why when I was like seeing negative comments, I was like, true, people were saying like, you don't realize how many big firms have put in money into Open. Yeah, I saw it. Absolutely. That's why the long term, I'm thinking, this is going to do well. I'm not expecting Open to go at this point. I'm not expecting it to be a terrible investment, but I am expecting it to be a very volatile investment until we start to hear more about what these rate cuts are going to be. Waiting for the company to release news. I have high expectation that by December, this could be a very pushed up stock, 100%. But, I think just along the way, you should be taking profits too. Get some Christmas money out of there so you can buy your turbo man. This is kind of how I'm looking at it. Okay, let's talk about Big Bear. Wow. So I don't want to sound like a broken record, but yesterday I came out and said, we're starting to see firms start to buy into Big Bear. And obviously that Nashville airport deal that just happened last week. Yesterday it was released Goldman Sachs. They increased their relationship share price into Big Bear. In the week before, we saw another investment firm buy up shares of Big Bear. So there's a lot going on here, and this is kind of a pathway I wasn't really thinking we were going to see. And today with Big Bear, I don't even think it hit 6. It hit 5.99. Is that it? It just missed $6 there, right around $3.35. So it got close, but it never hit $6. But I mean, this is great. This is great. I mean, man, talk about, just talk about absolute greatness. If even looking at a 5-day chart here, I mean, it's just been a long, steady step up here every day. And then today was just like the ultimate push here with Big Bear. So, obviously the great thing that could happen here with Big Bear is obviously keeping this momentum, keeping, news coming. Positive news. Big Bear needs positive news. I mean, it just needs positive news, 100%. Friends, when we talk about the Q3s coming out with Big Bear, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I've seen people comment like, do you think they're going to pass? What do you think is going to happen? As of right now, and I said this about Q2, I was pretty sure they weren't going to pass Q2. They didn't. Now, I was shocked of how bad those quarterlies were. Q3, we're just not seeing it. We're not seeing enough money for them to pass those quarterlies. So, I hate to sound negative because I love Big Bear and I think Big Bear is going to work. But the main thing that I'm focusing on right now is the expectation that they can continue to pull out good news. Listen, I said this last night where I was like, I do believe in spies in the stock market. I believe in spies. I believe that these investment firms, they know things that the general public does not know, that me and you, we just don't know about. I believe that, a lot of these investment firms, they can, I'd be careful what I say here, but they can pay for, they can send in spies, and they may know things ahead of time. Now, does Goldman Sachs know something that we don't know? Do they know of an upcoming, a deal lingering over Big Bear? I don't know. Do they? Now. Now, if we see an article come out next week or this week where it says Big Bear just received the biggest United States contract of its life, I will definitely be saying I believe that there definitely are spies in these investment firms. So yeah, I mean, this was just a good day for Big Bear. I mean, we needed this with Big Bear. I mean, just needed it. I just can't. It makes me happy that we at least got this. So if you're still, if you're still under in Big Bear, you're a little bit closer to where you want to be. If you were, buying Big Bear at those cheap prices, you're probably, doing a lot better today. Maybe you're swing trading it. But all in all, this is the right pathway we need to see with Big Bear. If this gets us back to, a $6 to $7 range with Big Bear, that's great. I said this 11 months ago. I'll say it again. If Big Bear can close out 2025 with hopefully more contracts, at least hitting somewhere around 35 million in revenue, obviously want more, and can close out with the share price around at least $6 to $7, I'll be happy going into 2026, where we can see maybe more things developing here with contracts, defense contracts, or maybe just Big Bear kind of just starts taking over more airports. That's a really big element that we could see here. So, yeah, friends, wow, what a day. It's only Tuesday. Tomorrow's the big day. We'll see what happens. And I would highly expect, Big Bear will have another good day tomorrow. Big Bear was like one of the only green stocks on the market today, which is really, really interesting. And we've seen that time and time again where Big Bear kind of just says like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go this way. But, I would highly expect if we do see aggressive rate cuts tomorrow, Big Bear will kind of, play around that too. So friends, take care of yourself. I would talk to you soon. I really do appreciate everyone being here. I really do mean that. You can't invest alone. We all got to do this together. We all got to talk. And hopefully I didn't make anyone too upset, but I'm sure I will hear very nice comments. And yeah, appreciate it. Friends, take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.